Welcome to the implement setup video for the PLM IntelliView 12 display. The first step in setting up an implement is to first navigate to the implement card. The implement name gives the user a reference so that it is easy to return to a previous profile that has been set up. When using multiple implements across multiple vehicles, having an implement name already simplifies setup. Once we are in the implement card, we can then select None under Implement and then click Add New. You will use the keyboard below to type in the name of the implement that you are adding. You will enter a name here. Once completed, click the Done option on the keyboard. Implement operation is used to categorize if the implement being set up is being used for application, tillage, or planting. Click None under the Implement operation and select your operation. Implement type is used to categorize the implement, such as a cultivator, planter, or seeder. Click None under the implement type. The display will adjust the types based on the operation selected. From here, a type can be selected. Implement make is used for branding purposes. An example would be New Holland. Click None under the implement make and select Add New. From here, we can enter in a make. Implement model can be used to store the model number in the profile. Once the implement is fully set up, then we can go ahead and select Save, and that will save the implement identification to the display's memory. From here, we will select the measurements. The center offset input is for implements that may have a right or left offset. The system uses the center line of the tractor as the default center line of the implement. If the implement center line is offset from the tractor center line when the implement is operating in the field, this offset value must be accurately entered. Some implements appear offset when raised or in transport position, but are actually centered on the tractor because of ground forces. The bar distance is the distance from the corrected GNSS position to the application point of the first controller. The hitch to axle distance is the distance from the hitch connection point to the first axle where the implement wheels touch the ground. For tillage tools and row crop planters, measure to the point where the implement breaks the ground. This is typically the seating units or the midpoint of several rows of tools. The system distinguishes between implement width and swath width. The value in implement width is the physical width of the implement and is used for position-based warnings such as boundaries and obstacles. Hitch type determines if the implement is connected to the 3-point hitch or the implement is a pull type connected to the tractor's rear drawbar. An example of this would be a 3-point mounted implement that could be a rear blade or snow removal equipment, while a pull type implement could be a planter. If we scroll down on this page, we will find the skip and overlap options. The skip value is used to configure an internal skip to avoid over-application of coverage, while the overlap setting is used to configure an intentional overlap to avoid skips and application coverage. Once we have the implement profile completed, select the menu key and then select Vehicle and Implement Configuration. Once we're in this screen, we can select the Implement Switch Source dropdown. This determines how the coverage is logged. Examples of this include auto guidance or EHR valves. As we move down the screen, the System Speed Priority Source sets the speed that is being used for calculations pertaining to machine data, application, and harvesting. For example, if the GPS is set to priority number 1, the system will use GPS speed for calculations until GPS speed is lost or the setting has been changed. If the user is operating the vehicle in wet conditions, it may be best to use GPS due to wheel slippage. Other options include wheel speed and radar. Once we have this set up, we will navigate back to the Run screen and then go into the Operations screen and make sure that a grower, farm, and field is accurate. Once this has been confirmed, the implement should be completed.